others out Cleveland sports.
He's going in! Touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
A swing and a drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jarid Watson.
And we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Hello and welcome, Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jarid Watson, and this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Hey, Baker Mayfield, he's speaking to the press for the first time in a long time. And according to him, he's going to go back to the sheer fundamentals of things. Jadeveon Clowney was offered a big old contract. He says no to Cleveland for now. And Jarvis Landry, he's given an update on how his rehab is going. Andy's favorite tight end, David Njoku, is excited about the upcoming season. How excited is Andy?
Oh, very excited. Very
Finally,
excited.
Jimmy Haslam took a jab at Jerry Jones. I think it's hilarious on an owner's conference call. Play the cricket sounds. MLB baseball in a week deemed important by both the union and the owners are nowhere closer to an agreement on a deal. This one hits me. I mean, it really does. Emotionally, it's bothering me a little bit because if you've been listening to the show, you know that we were pretty high on baseball for a while. So we'll see if they'll be able to figure something out here. And I don't know. The tarnishment of everything with COVID-19, it's made things difficult. Well, the NBA, on the other hand, opposite of the MLB, is going to have a big vote Thursday. That'll be June 4th to return. But will the Cavs get an invite? We'll discuss all of that and more. But first, your Zoom meeting loving, like all of us, Andy, Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
Hello, everybody. It's been a long break. It has been a fucking crazy May. I'm sure I'm not the only one who will say that. And literally, I hope everybody's safe out there. What a month. I mean, March and May are going to go down in the annals in a long, long time in this country's history.
May 29th was, I said, what a month for that yesterday, just for one day.
Just for yesterday.
What a month. Yesterday was a long month.
What a month. And for those of you like myself who have been parenting with kids at home and teaching and homeschooling, I officially, just to dive into my world real quick, I had my final teacher meltdown on Friday of last week where I finally snapped and so I finally said, you know what? We're going to write the teachers a note and say, the Billmans have checked out until Tuesday. We apologize. We're not doing your science. We're not doing your math. We will be there on Tuesday, and we will give you a thumbs up and energy because Cameron, Billman, and myself, God bless, we've been working as a team. I finally said on Friday, Daddy's tapped out. Can't do any more erosion projects. Can't fucking read about one more volcano. We're going to just tell the teacher, hey, we're good. We'll be back on Tuesdays. That's Memorial Day weekend. So it's been a long it's been long for everybody, but
it's hard to find that balance of an expectation of what a kid can realistically do depending on not only their age and their place in development, because those age groups vary drastically in what they can and should accomplish throughout a given week for school, and they're not in school, and we've all got responsibilities, and we are all working too. So yeah, I wish I can give you a big hug, Andy. Okay. I'm sorry that that's been going on.
I gave a big hug.
You're not alone, no.
No, we aren't. No. So I gave a big hug to myself and a bag of Doritos, and I'll hug my way out of it that way. All right. So I thought this week was really good for the Browns, and again, they continue this positive train, and Baker Mayfield really stole the show. For people who didn't see, you should check out his press conference. You can go on clevelandbrowns.com and check it out. It's only 19 minutes, not that long. Six really has done something good. He's got a good handle on what's going on with this team. You can feel that vibe. Jarvis Landry backed it up in his press conference a week before that, mentioning that Mayfield has made an impact even in a time when no one was around. I thought that was a telling statement from Jarvis. You can tell right now that the aggressiveness days from Baker are on the back burner. You can tell right now he is very focused. The smart decisions, Like he is really concentrating on himself of like, why did I do these things? And we'll get in the breakdown of it, but I just want to say I thought that Baker Mayfield interview, and it's just an interview it means nothing in September, but it is such a drastic change, Jared, from what we saw a year ago to today in moments like this, that you can tell, like, Baker's still cocky and he's still edgy, but it's so much less in your face. And that's really good to see. And to hear Jarvis, who does not throw things around and has legitimate, means what he says, to hear him say that too about Baker, again, a good sense of calming from Baker Mayfield.
Well, and I'll take it. I will say that if you do read the quotes from his meeting with the press, his virtual meeting, bear with me, I may cough a little bit today. We turned our air conditioning on yesterday, and I think that I'm having issues from that. Anyways, when I read the quotes themselves, they are so drastically different, even in the tone of confidence that I'm used to hearing from Baker, that I got to tell you, it almost makes me a little bit nervous. And I'm coupling that with the fact that this will be his fourth head coach in 3 years, that they're talking about things like fixing footwork, that we're talking about going back to sheer fundamentals. I get it. On one side, I feel comfortable because I think it's like, all right, he's refocusing. It's all about football. This is all we care about, doing the right things. In the other sense, it's like, oh man, is he losing confidence? Is he going to lose something here with all these changes? I don't know. There was just something that was slightly, maybe I'm not putting my finger on it directly, but there was something that was slightly off-putting when I looked at the bigger picture regarding all this. Now, again, considering all things, I'm still more on the positive side regarding what I expect out of this team when they actually hit the field. But at the same time, maybe it's just the strangeness of not hearing Baker. Well, I mean, he's done a good job. Even Colin Cowherd's been trying to poke at him again lately, called him a bust or something last week. I don't know because I don't listen to Colin Cowherd. So I don't know the specific quote, but Baker's not, biting on any of that stuff either. So there is good, but there's something that's just in that tone that makes me a little bit nervous. Am I wrong to feel that way, Andy?
I think you are, because he didn't play well last year. He did not play well. He had bad moments in games. He got away with stuff in the Dolphins game. He got away with stuff in games.
Correct. I think that, but that's what I'm saying. Has that stuff had more of an effect on him?
I think it needed to, Jared. I actually think it needs to. He did not play well last year.
No,
he didn't.
No,
this was not 2008.
There was no direction.
There was like, okay, blame Kitchens. Okay, blame the offensive line. Okay, blame some other things. Fine. He did not play well at times. In fact, he looked awful. Go back and watch these two wins. The end of the Dolphins game, the end of the Bengals game. The Browns were lucky to win those games because he was making passes where it's like, where is that going? Like, why is he making these decisions? Why is he doing
the only game worth watching from last season over is the Baltimore
on the road. Yes, that's it.
It's the only one. It's the only one.
Yeah, he did not play well last year. And again, and he's kind of admitting that. I actually take it this way. I'm not saying I don't understand why you're feeling that way, but I am the opposite in this because it's like he needs to have a kumbaya moment where it's like, hey, this did not go well last year. And the people who you can blame on have not been gone. Conklin is your right tackle. You have a new they have a new left tackle from Alabama. You have things around you like a Van Pelt and a Stefanski and an Andrew Berry giving you tools. You will have Kareem Hunt to begin the year. Your footwork was not good last year. There's a great statistic out by Pro Football Focus, I believe, or the Aaron Schatz website, where they said Baker Mayfield, more of his interceptions were done. He threw more interceptions done when he wasn't pressured. Baker has got to get things in focus this year.
Well, yes, there's just cracks in the confidence.
There is.
That's where I get a little. It's make or break.
It is. Now, here's where I will change. If he's talking this way in October, I have a problem. This is not October. I want him right now to really reflect back on what the hell happened and what are you going to do going forward? Because, like, right now, I don't want this to be like last year we all did in this dream fantasy world. I need this to be right now more of reality. And I like how Stefanski and Van Pelt are like, look, your footwork wasn't good. You didn't do things in a shotgun formation that was not to your best abilities. We need to work on these things. And yes, there are going to be some things lagging because he's not there in person. That is what it is. And that might play a role. But I don't want this to be, I'm tired of this, like, Mayfield's going to be great because he's Mayfield. No, he did some things last year that did not go well. And it's not all on Kitchens. It's not all on, the air raid.
He got super skittish.
Yes.
He got super skittish.
Yes.
For a big chunk of that season.
And by the way, to Jared's point, I will repeat this. If he's talking this way in September and October, I got a problem. But right now, no.
Yeah, I think part of it is he's still filling out the regime, a regime that he can't be hands-on with, in a real sense of what they would be doing right now. So
yes,
I mean, I get it. It's just it can be jarring. And again, if you just read the quotes, I am only going off of this from a non-visual, reading the quotes and thinking about and thinking things out type of approach here when I'm saying that there may be a touch of concern. But at the same time, shit, what are we talking about here? 20 years of history with the Browns, a touch of concern?
Oh, right. Well, right. I mean,
overall, it's like, hopefully he gets his shit together. Hopefully this new regime works out, and hopefully they do something. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, we can pick apart, like I am, the nuance of these comments.
Well, but
at the end of the day, it doesn't even.
But to Jared's point, though, and here's where I do agree with you. And we said this from back in January when Stefanski got put in. This is the make or break year for Six. And it wouldn't have been the make or break year even if he came off another good year. He's got to take this team to, it's year 3. You got to start seeing some drastic improvement. You got to see Mayfield win some games. You got to see Mayfield do some things. In fairness, even in 2018, he hasn't done that stuff. Mayfield needs to take some leaps forward. And for him to start feeling the pressure is actually good because the days of soft landings are over. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Some drastic changes might be coming.
I don't want to search for another quarterback. I don't want that.
Well, I will do that in the next podcast. Trevor Lawrence will break down. We'll break down some other fun. Or sure. Well, Justin Fields. In the later rounds, Mr. Book from Notre Dame. We'll go through all down memory. No, I'm teasing. But as I made Jared choke. Remember those days, quarterbacks? So in the draft, but I did think this was.
Yeah, I can't believe we've been talking about the same guy for 3 years now,
no,
Andy. That in itself is a blessing, right?
Right. I will say, though, to Jared's point, this is a big year for Six. I actually really think, though, that Jared, he came off very well in this press conference. I like this Baker. I like Baker being cocky, but not aggressively in-your-face shit. I like the days right now of him saying, you know what? My footwork's not where it should be. To that quote, essentially, it's changing my stance up in shotgun formation, putting my left foot forward, which I've never done, end quote. He also talked about, I'm going back to the sheer fundamentals, as Jared said in the open, essentially getting back to basics, which is what he needs. Now, this is someone on Kitchens and that fucking stupid air raid offense. They did so much bullshit. Don't worry, in season 2 and 3, the rear review, which is happening, we'll review all these fun bubble screens. But that was the kind of crap that really got this team in trouble. And part of that, I think, got into Mayfield's head. Again, though, this year, and he said this part out. This is now on me to start playing better. I have to now play. There's no excuses about hey, there's a new regime coming in. It's on me. I said I was adaptable, and that's why they should take me to overall number 1. So I'm adaptable. I'm going to get. He is saying things, though, Jared, in there. It's it's not on this new regime. I have to get used to this new regime. I contributed to this problem last year. I have to fix it. Reality. Time for some realism.
Oh, well, there's a lot of reality that is setting in.
There is. And you can.
He is in a position now where instead of thinking he can run out there and lead this team to the end zone every time he runs out on the field, to thinking step 1 is I need to make sure that I get my shit together just so that my coach trusts me.
Yes.
Right. I mean, that's a very different approach.
Yes.
Because that's where he is at right now.
Yes.
I need to impress the new guy who's coming in to run things. And I know that's not, listen, I'm not saying that that's the end, that's the biggest goal. All I'm saying is that's an important an important approach. I think an important difference in the approach is, maybe I'm being hyperbolic in my way of addressing it here, but that's where he's at right now.
Yes, I just think Mayfield last year got coddled way too much, and we as fans coddled him. The commercials, everything we got excited about from the NFL 50, seeing Brady and Mayfield together, how he played last year. And I don't want to harp on this too much as I did last year, but I'm going to harp on it. That's why in 2018, him losing that game in Baltimore was a big fucking deal. He had a chance inside the 40 to win that game, and he couldn't make plays. And we all said, and I didn't, but other people are like, oh, well, it's okay. It's all about next year. No. The coddling is done of Mayfield. Time to start getting to work. He got coddled for 16 games last year, and those days are done.
Well, he got caught. Listen, it was a combination of coddled and not coached.
Yes, and that's true too. Absolutely. And not putting him in positions to be successful. And the big thing I do want to harp on this a little bit today. Give the ball to 24. Nick Chubb is a star. Let him take this team along with you. One of the biggest things, I'll end on this, and we can get into more. The biggest thing that needs to happen in Berea is this. 6, 24 Nick Chubb, Landry and Odell Beckham, Conklin and Wills, and JC Treader. Fuck, I invite everybody. Kareem Hunt too. But but these guys need to sit down and talk like, hey, let's win as a team. And the one thing, Jared, you get from Mayfield, they want to win as a team. And it's very good. And that's why I like this year him saying, you know what? I do need to work on some things. You didn't hear that shit last year. All people kept talking about is how good the Browns were going to be and how much the expectations were on us. This year, it's like, you know what? I need to work on my footwork. You know what? Things didn't go so great. I like that. That's good realism. That's what fucking happened. It's been 16 games plus 1. 17 games of not living in reality. Oh, we did a good job against the Dolphins. If you really watch that game, the Browns didn't play so great. They won the games the Dolphins stunk, okay? The Jets game on Monday night, they won because the Jets stunk, okay? Yeah. There was too many of those games last year. It is time to get to work. And I will say, across the board, no matter who you listen to, everybody's on that. Baker Mayfield's got his hard hat on, and he's got a sledgehammer right beside him. I love it. This is the way it needs to be. And by the way, the biggest challenge, which we could talk about all day, is it sucks that they can't meet in Berea right now. Because this team does need to start getting together and meeting more.
Yeah.
It's going to affect, but the way they're going about it, and you can tell by the way they're talking, they're doing the best they can, and that's good to hear.
Jumping over to Jadeveon Clowney and the offer that the Browns had thrown his way. There's a part of me that's pretty happy that he didn't just take the money. Because we've seen what happens with folks with free agents in the past, taking all the money and not doing any of the things. I mean, two of them, you've got Andre Rison was a big one, and Dwayne Bowe was the other.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, both of those guys.
Jamie Collins, the linebacker, even though it was a trade, that did not work out.
That was disappointing.
Willie McGinnis did not work out as a signing. There's been other ones. I mean, McGinnis wasn't that expensive, but Mary Kay Cabot reported that it was 18 million, but the big breaking of the stories by Adam Schefter on Gerard Cherry and Emmett Golden's show, they basically said like, hey, it's on Jadeveon because the Browns made the offer and he hasn't said yes to it. Here's my thing about Clowney. Clowney is remembered for that game in Michigan where he made a wonderful play in a bowl game. He is a good pro. He's not a great pro. This is not make or break stuff here. The Browns have made an offer. That's a lot of money. He has said no to that. In my opinion, Jared, it's all about this to me, and I guess we should go down this road. And Woods commented, Woods in an interview earlier this week too, and I took some quotes down from that. And Woods, actually, let's go to this quote, because I think this is the big thing here with me about Jadeveon Clowney. It's not so much about Clowney. It's really about, it's Myles Garrett, yes, but it's about Olivier Vernon. And according to Woods, quote, wants to play healthy, talking about Vernon, what Vernon's attitude's been, and is really show people what he can do on the field. And so far, he's been great. So far, Vernon's been a part of all these things. So far, he made a point to say Vernon is hungry to play well. Now, let's take that in perspective to what Jared's saying. If you got a guy who wants to prove what he did last year was an aberration, which is basically what's coming out here in Woods' comments, I think he may lean towards Olivier Vernon because he's hungry to play well. He's hungry to prove people wrong. And my problem with Clowney is, Clowney even last year did not make as much impact on games as what we perceive. And so if you got a guy like that and you're going to pay him that much and he's going to bring, he's a good player. He's not bad. But to Jared's point about the money, at that point, wouldn't you want to just give Olivier Vernon one more shot? This is something the Browns have not done in the past. And I'm starting to lean back to going against my comments I said last year, cut Vernon, get rid of him. I'm more going to, you know what, keep Vernon. Let's see what he can do one more year. He's only got one more year left on his contract. He's not coming back.
Yeah, well, I mean, this was the thing. We knew that the options weren't really that great to begin with. And when you really look at Olivier Vernon and think about the potential that is there, I can't turn my nose up at that possibility that he turns things around this season. I can't do that.
I just think Vernon's got a lot to play for. I think Vernon's got a lot to play for this year.
Yeah, you said that this is it, the contract year.
This is it.
Year, right?
This is his last year on his contract.
So there you go.
The money's not that big of a difference either. So, again, it's not like it's a salary cap play here. It's all about, do you think Clowney is that much better than Vernon? In my opinion, I don't think that answer is yes. Okay. I think that answer is you're about breaking even.
The weight of all of this is on Olivier Vernon's shoulders.
It is. And by the way, this goes back to what I said, and I'm not going to get off it. I thought the trade the Browns made with the Giants last year was good. I know people think I'm crazy probably saying that. I do. To be fair, though, Vernon needs to come through this year to prove that right. Odell Beckham's one part of this trade, but the other part of this trade is Vernon. Vernon needs to start playing well. He needs to start playing well. And I think you need to give this. I think, Jared, from that perspective, give Vernon a year. I've actually come full circle on this. I think you need to give Vernon a year to test this out. Now, if Clowney comes here, I won't like it, but I'm not going to hate it. I know there's already people saying they're going to hate it because they think Clowney's going to get overpaid. I'm not going to be that guy.
Well, what is that? Is Clowney just waiting on other offers right now?
Clowney, according to everyone, is waiting for the best opportunity, and clearly he doesn't. Okay, now to the bigger point. This goes back to something I've heard from other agents and from other players who play in the league currently. There's one I talk weekly, and he told me this last year. The problem with the Browns is they have this reputation of losing. And yes, if you're in knee deep with what we do as Browns fans, we think this is turning around. The perception still is the same, and it should be. The 6-10. This persists.
Right, and why would Clowney look and go, yeah, I see that in money, but not only the losing, but yet another regime.
That's my point.
And a quarterback who is hoping to find himself.
And by the way, I think people don't need to. I think this is also misread. This is not about Cleveland. This is about the Browns. There's a big difference when I say that.
Right. You know what? Yes, exactly. That's a whole other conversation, Andy, that we can do an entire podcast on its own.
And that has nothing to do with
talking
this.
About
and by the way, I think people have really misplayed that card on this one. Oh, Clowney's want to come to Cleveland. It has nothing to do with that. It's the Browns.
It has to do with the fact that the team can't.
It's about the Browns, folks.
Yes.
It's about the Browns. It has nothing to do with the city of Cleveland. But by the way, Clowney has the right to feel that way. And by the way, Clowney also has leverage. Because he can say, you know what, I'm going to wait till COVID-19 or whatever else ever settles down, then I'll make my decision. Clowney might take the year off. It's up to him. And I don't think it's wrong for the Browns at this point to say Olivier Vernon, he's been involved in meetings. Joe Woods is excited about him. Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing. You want guys that are hungry.
Yes.
Guys that are hungry are going to play.
Yes. Let's continue down the Joe Woods trail, and then we'll get back up to Landry. Yep. So Woods did talk. I thought he came off very. Everyone is this. I'll tell you this. Everyone's the same. Good, well-spoken, mild-mannered. Good, well-spoken, mild-mannered. Positive, happy people. I will say everyone smiles.
Articulate, smart.
Yes, friendly.
They're PR savvy in the words that they choose.
Friendly. I mean, Stefanski, friendly, nice guy. Andrew Berry, friendly, well-spoken, nice guy. Like Joe Woods, friendly. I mean, I will say,
no, I just want to, they're speaking softly, and I'm curious of how big a stick they're carrying.
We'll find out,
and we'll see.
By the way,
yes, exactly.
By the way, talk to us in middle October. It may not be so friendly. So, Woods about Myles Garrett. He's in a good place.
When they're 4-6 and still trying to figure their lives out.
Joe Burrow's running around and they're in a 1-point game.
Yeah. If they're 4-6, behind a Bengals team that's fine 5-5.
They better not lose the fucking kitty cats this year.
That would be.
And by the way, I am that Browns fan. I don't like fucking Cincinnati. Don't like them. I have good friends, Cincinnati fans. They fucking suck. They're just behind Steelers and Ravens. Just behind them. Anyways. Can't fucking stand the Bengals. Hate them. It started from day one with Esiason and Kosar. I just don't like the Bengals. Never have.
Well, Esiason. All right.
Never was happier to see the 49ers icky shuffle their way to a championship. Woods, quote, Myles Garrett's in a good place, end quote. Quote, he's going to learn and grow from the situation that happened last year. We have not really talked about it, end quote, talking about obviously the Steeler incident. Woods also mentioned that Garrett's trying to make more of a leadership role. The thing that all about this Myles Garrett stuff is that I think needs to be pressed upon more is we all know 6 at the end of the day is a leader. Even that I think you do too. Chubb is a superstar. We know the leader's 6. Okay. Which by the way has been defined this year. Was not defined last year. It's been defined this year. Myles Garrett though is the leader on defense, and I want him to take that reign back. I know he got suspended. I know things did not, and he deservedly so, but Myles is the best player in defense, folks. And he does need to take more of a leadership role. And I was glad to hear that from Woods. So I think that's a key component. And Woods also mentioned he's excited about this defensive line and thinks it can handle its own. And something that Woods really pressed upon is he is big on stopping a run. And at one point during the press conference, he even said, I'm mentioning the Ravens too on this. Meaning he realizes stopping the run is key.
If they're talking about stopping the run, I mean, what did we always see out of Myles Garrett that was preventing that from happening? It was over pursuit. He wasn't he every single time, right? He would try to get to the outside and around whoever the defender was, whoever
yes.
get around the lineman on the outside and over pursue every time, and the ball would go right past them. Boop, every single time.
Yes.
Boop.
And there was way too many times too where for how much we like Joe Schobert, honestly, the linebackers did not make enough plays.
Correct.
And that's going to, and by the way, Mac.
Well, that we know, right? I know.
Mac Wilson, great pass coverage.
I'm just curious to see what their approach is.
No, I'm with, okay.
Because we really did. We were thinking that last season that the approach was going to be linebacker can be soft because defensive line is strong and secondary is going to be strong.
Yep. Well,
right?
Wood did comment his defense will play, quote, simple and play fast. Now that, end quote, that's not a wild comment. Every defensive coordinator is going to say simple and play fast. So I get that. To what Jared's saying, though, and Jared's right, the defensive lines are, and this is the way it should be in the NFL. It's all built on the defensive line with talented corners. So, Greedy Williams aside. Greedy Williams got to prove a lot this year. But I know, Denzel Ward can play, all right? When he's healthy, that kid can play. Denzel's fine. But they got to play better. And Olivier Vernon's a big part of that, too. But Myles Garrett's the leader. And Sheldon Richardson did play well last year. Ogunjobi is consistent. They did bring Claiborne, who does what? He sacks the quarterback. And I think that will press Vernon, which I like. By the way, I should have mentioned that. That's going to press Vernon. Hey, if you don't fucking sack the quarterback on third down, you're getting your ass out of the game. Claiborne's coming in. They are telling people we are not fucking around on third down. And, again, Woods' big thing has been he is soft-spoken. He's a nice man, but you can tell, is like, we are going to stop the run. The days of this being a doormat of run defense, which has been this way forever. This was not just last year. It's been this way forever. Is stopping.
Well, you're gonna have that. You're gonna have to be that within that AFC North.
You have to.
When you're in a division where you've got a young quarterback who's learning the ropes, and they're gonna want to run the ball if they're gonna try to move things. When you've got another quarterback who has been in the league for a couple of years and is never going to be a throwing quarterback down the road, right? And then you're talking about an aging quarterback who will probably survive if they run the ball. So that's what we're talking about here. You have to stop the run in the AFC North. You have to stop the run.
Let's get to a realistic thing. Forget the Ravens, as the Browns have done a nice job on Lamar Jackson. He hasn't torched them yet. Now he's had a good game in the end of the year, but he hasn't torched him yet. But I'll say this.
Correct.
But I'll say this.
Correct.
Especially Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon torched the Browns last year.
Correct.
James Conner, when healthy, has no problem getting big carries and big gains. The Browns,
right, and I will say the only good news in that with Ben coming back is Ben doesn't know that he's aging, so he'll throw 3 interceptions. So
God, I hope you're right.
But at the same time, let's be real. If the Steelers are going to keep him healthy, and if he's going to survive the season, I really do think they have to.
James Conner is going to be big. Like, look again.
Yeah.
Especially Mixon, even in the loss when the Browns beat the Bengals, Mixon torched the Browns. He did, folks. He torched them. Anytime a team consistently ran on the, and by the way, this has been going on for years. Greg Williams didn't slow this shit down. No one slowed this shit down. I mean, this has been an ongoing problem for a long time. I mean, long time. So I'm glad to hear that from Woods. Again, I thought his was not, and one last one. He did comment on Delpit, quote, "We are working on him to be tackling more consistently. We know that's a thing. He's the ideal athlete I want to have play in the secondary," end quote. He mentioned too, very talented, and he can play in multiple sets, which is what I saw from Delpit too. Delpit does a lot. He does tackle, just tackling more consistently. This is a big thing.
Hey, Jarvis. Jarvis is healing up faster than we expected. Jarvis Landry might be ahead of schedule, Andy.
Sounds like he's going to be returning sometime in August. Quote, "My rehab process is going great," end quote. "A little bit ahead of schedule," as another quote he had.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing about, and Jarvis also, we should do this too, on getting a surgery because people don't remember. He delayed it because he mentioned in the press conference that he had, the Zoom conference we should call it, with the media, that he wanted to try to play through it, and then he finally said to himself, "I just can't do this." And I love this. I love Landry. I gotta start talking about that more. Landry really is the pulse of this team. The leader's Mayfield. The pulse is Jarvis. Quote, "I did not want to be a part of the reason for the team not having success," end quote, for the reason why he wanted to get surgery. Jarvis, I'll tell you, he doesn't get talked about enough. When you listen to Jarvis, he is really the heart and soul. The leader's Baker, but the heart and soul and the pulse of the team is Jarvis Landry.
And you could see that in Hard Knocks.
Yes.
Hard Knocks, that was evident. Jarvis was very passionate in the wide receiver.
Jarvis
very passionate.
Wants to win. Jarvis even mentioned, "I would have gone to Texas if I weren't hurt, but I was hurt. I couldn't justify myself going to Texas right now," meaning playing with Mayfield and those other guys. He goes, "I just couldn't do it." I think Jarvis too much gets grouped upon other things and gets grouped upon. And by the way, they're best friends. So you get the OBJ grouping, but they're very different in some aspects.
Very different.
And I think people need
players.
to separate that more. Need to separate that more.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't lump them together, to be honest with you. I acknowledge their personal relationship in that sense, but I don't think that we've ever compared or contrasted their play or talked about who should get the ball more or who's playing better than the other. Or they really are. They're autonomous in the way that we have always discussed both of those people.
I agree. I just think they get grouped too often. And yes, they're LSU.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess I'm saying, I don't know why that's done.
I know. Well,
I don't know why that's done.
Why?
Because it's easy, because it's a marketing thing, because it's easy to do.
They're both from Louisiana. They both went to LSU. They grew up like, look, I get it.
Shit, we have talked about we got five LSU Tigers on this team this season.
Gayo Browns. Landry's also excited about people's Gayo Browns. I'm going to tell you, I think this is the hidden gem on this team this year is Peoples-Jones. I'm just calling it out. I think he's going to be a hidden gem.
Same here.
All right.
Yep, I can agree with that. But again, here we go. I'm going to get all excited about something that
makes 2 catches. Hey,
listen, if you equal Hollywood's from last year, then there you go.
I was just thinking about that.
Hey, but how much has that wide receiver core now changed when you're talking about Landry, Odell, Hollywood Higgins, and Peoples-Jones? You're not talking about shoving in again, Damian Ratley, great guy. But I'm good. You good? We're good. So there you go. Peoples-Jones, brother.
I'm not gonna waste my energy on Mr.
That Wolverine
I love him.
better come through.
Love him. Paint those stripes
and
on a
make
helmet.
this, and put a smile on this Buckeye's face.
Landry mentioned he is very excited and he thinks that he can help the team. And he is talking to Landry constantly. It's a great start for Peoples-Jones in that way. I am with Jared. I'm not going to rant and rave about Dontrell Hilliard and Ratley today. I'll save that for season 2. David Njoku, my favorite. He's very excited about the opportunity next year. Quote, "That's what I'm most excited about, just the opportunity. Obviously, this past year wasn't we all planned or had in mind, but it was a great learning experience." Great for who? I'm very excited to come back with my teammates and give it all we got, end quote. Here's my quick thing on Njoku. I like that he's thrilled. I like that he's excited. I'm much more tough on him than I am Mr. Vernon. Just start fucking making plays. Let's go. Let's go. Time to start making plays. I'm glad he's excited. I'm glad he's a part of this core. Jared, I'm really ready to start seeing him making plays.
Well, he's going to have to if he's going to be on the field. And there you go again. Just like Olivier Vernon, Njoku's competing for snaps.
Yes, he is.
So.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Do we want to really go into a bit, just quickly? Everybody loves Stefanski. Everybody loves Stefanski. Everyone. Baker Mayfield to Joe Woods to Bill Callahan. I want to do the quotes. Everybody loves Stefanski.
And we all know, smart, sharp.
Yes.
Knows what he's talking about.
Ladies love him.
Purpose-driven.
Yes. Everybody, look, here's the thing. This is where I get cautious. Great. Let's talk in September.
I know, but there's nothing else to do right now.
There's nothing.
The only thing we got. That's all we got.
All I'm going to say is this. It's funny. I don't feel this way about Mayfield. I love Stefanski and I'm excited about it. I am almost elevator full of I get it. We all love him. Let's go. Let's call me in September. I'm glad it's going well. By the way, I will say this. What is today? May 30th? Around this time last year is when the Mike Silver report came out. Not really sure if Todd Monken and Freddie Kitchens are getting along. I'm glad not that. I don't hear about any of that shit. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God.
Well, I'm blocked by Mike Silver. So
No.
I don't hear anything anymore.
There's an interesting article that came out about the city of San Francisco and how it's not doing well. And I was, and by the way, as Clevelanders, we all know they went through that period. We all went through that period in the 70s and 80s, 60s too. It's amazing to see the reaction from San Francisco people in that area who are very, very jarred by that article. It's not that bad. Bullshit. Is it? Is it? It's interesting.
Well, that's there's just pride. That's all. There's pride there.
There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I love from where I'm from, but there's some problems we have to clean up. Anyways, I can go there's this whole myth about San Francisco, and it's a great city. It's a great city. There's also some things that are not going well in that city. And it's been pushed on the back burner for a while.
Correct.
The article is very interesting and eye-opening. J.C. Tritter spoke, and I love San Francisco. Big fan of that area. Just hate the Warriors. And they are based in San Francisco now. J.C. Treader spoke on May 9th about the hurdles ahead for people who have forgotten he is the NFL Players Association president. There's a long list of hurdles we have to get over and things we have to watch and check, end quote. We just continually seek out information to be informed. This virus is constantly changing, and the information you're getting is constantly changing. So we've got to stay really up to date with everything and make sure we're always looking through the lens of how we keep players safe as well as their families, end quote. What I take out of this is J.C. Treader is on top of it. J.C. Treader is performing well the duties of the NFL Players Association. I actually mean this. I'm glad he's playing for the Browns because it's good to see that. It's good to hear people. I think it helps this team right now because there is this national pandemic going around. And knowing that the players can go right to the man and source himself who plays on the team. In normal years, I don't know if it's such a big deal. And this year, I think it's big. I'm glad he's playing for the Browns.
It's direct information right there. I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will say this too regarding all of that. There's so much still up in the air, Andy. And we see it through every league. So much. But it's to be expected. Again, Until we're all getting inoculated,
Yes.
shit's going to be this way, brother. Just is.
Just is. Before we get to Mr. Haslam's comments, some quick tidbits that have been thrown together in case you missed it. The Browns are opening up their facility on Monday, June 1st. That's this coming Monday. They're going to be following the proper protocol. There have been other NFL teams that have opened up their building. The Browns are the last. You can see their general statement on the Browns website. Former general manager from the Colts, Ryan Grayson, has been hired on Friday, May 29th, as the senior advisor for the Browns. So Barry picking more people away from that. People can read into that as they may. And then Charles Walls, who was with the team in 2013, has been with the Packers, since 2013. He is joining the Browns as well. That happened about a week or so ago, personnel departments. Those are just some tidbits. The Browns have actually been making a lot of moves in the offseason when it comes to front office. Not shocking because they have a new GM. But the end with the Browns today, and Jared, this is a quick, simple story. Adam Schefter again. Schefter's had some great stories during the pandemic. Give him credit. That Jadavian Clowney nugget, and this one's good. They had for people who don't know, they had their Zoom conference calls. This is typically the owners' meetings week, this past week. So obviously they've been holding on Zoom, and they do a normal roll call like any other thing, and they called Jerry Jones's name, and he wasn't responding. So someone goes, "Oh, he must be on mute." And Jimmy Haslam said, quote, "They should just keep Jerry on permanent mute." I actually will say I think that mic was obviously hot. I think that was said with a hot mic in mind. That was a very funny moment from Haslam, if I'm being honest.
I love it. Good for him. That's solid. Yes.
And by the way, it's nothing more than
well done.
It's nothing more than that. That's over beers. That's not for field. That's over beers between owners. Okay, billionaires
absolutely
sipping Cartier and champagne. Nothing more than that. But I thought that was a very, very funny moment. The Browns are supposedly opening up their doors. How much news will be matriculating? We'll have to see. My final comment before we get to baseball.
I know, and we're not even and just to preface this for everyone, we're not even going to dive that deep into the baseball issue. I don't think today. Correct? We're gonna talk to Mandy.
Yeah. So actually, that's a wrap on the Browns. Let's go right to the end.
Cleveland, Indiana.
So on Friday of this coming week, I don't have my calendar in front of me. I think it's the 5th. Mandy Bell will come on with us, and we'll discuss the state of baseball and the state of the tribe. There's a lot of stuff to go in.
That's the 5th.
There's a lot to go on to with the tribe. But let's get to the major news, because it doesn't matter. Because here's what's the problem. This week on Tuesday, the owners made a pitch to the players about accepting a sliding scale cuts based on their salaries. The players abruptly, which we all knew from any comments you've been reading the last 2 weeks, they rejected that very quickly and very harshly. Now the Players Association is supposed to be doing today on Saturday, or maybe as late as by Monday, is recalibrating and giving them a new deal that they want to come back with. Look, bottom line, the both sides here are very far apart. Neither seems interested in meeting in the middle. And folks, I love baseball. If they thought the strike in '94 was damaging the game, wait till they do this. This is going down the road. They're not going to be playing this year.
Well, let me go ahead and say this then, and I'm gonna continue that. Not playing this year, and really, really, really putting a hurt on the league for the future after that.
Yeah.
We're in a situation right now where there's multiple issues that need to be addressed with Major League Baseball, from revenue sharing to just the choices in creating these, decade-long contracts with $100 million plus 200. We're creating some really strange situations in baseball that I don't think we necessarily see in other leagues. And then you also are struggling with the fact that you can't get butts in seats, that people think the game is slow. The game, the fact that they are even fighting like this now is just so telling of the situation of where baseball is. Yep. Because not but a month ago, Andy, we thought, holy shit, baseball's setting the example for how to handle this situation.
They were out ahead of it in late March. They really were.
And they have completely thrown that out the window.
Unraveled.
And I'll say this too. I love Clevenger. I love him on the mound. But players like him are really gaining traction with other players in the league, other young, impressionable players in the league, by the way they behave on social media. And I think that long-term is going to be an issue as well. We've seen it play out with Bauer. We see it with Clevenger. There are certain players that jump on board with it. There are some retired players who act like assholes, and we already know that they're assholes. We always knew. They just proved it for us. But I think there's going to be more issues regarding the attitudes of these players that show you they are just spoiled brats in a sense, where at least that's the image that I'm seeing right now. And now they want to bitch about reeling in some of their expectations money-wise during a season that may not happen if we don't all make some sort of consolation. So what the fuck is going on with Major League Baseball? What is going on? I watch, and I don't know how many people pay much attention to Terry Franco. That's Terry Francona's son on Twitter, who has some beef with Major League Baseball. But you know what? There's a lot of times where I'm like, man, he's been waving these flags for a long time of the issues that are unresolved within the league, and holy shit, that's where they're at right now. Major League Baseball is in trouble. If they can't figure this out, they're in big fucking trouble.
I put a lot of this on Manfred. I put a lot of this on Tony Clark. Those two guys need to get control of their owners. They need to get control of their union and get them in a room. And it's time for social distancing real meetings. The MLB's there. MLB's had this problem forever. And if they snub their nose in this, I think it's going to be drastically poor. And I think that the league's going to be on fire. Actually, Jared, because of time, we'll save the rest of this for Mandy Bell on Friday, and we'll jump right to the NBA. Yeah. But I want to make one more comment to what Jared's saying, because I echo what Jared's saying about this whole disagreement and how MLB looks really, really poor. I just want to emphasize, they are arguing about stuff where what I'm reading, what I'm hearing, yes, they're hearing each other, but they're on different planets of how they're going to.
Well, that's what I mean. Everyone's everywhere.
Yeah,
and that was kind of the way that I was saying it. You've got these attitudes. You're getting these weird little insurrections that come up. You're getting these, like, there's just so many strange storylines in a league that should be really focused on, like, do you care whether the league survives?
By the way, no. They've dug their heels in.
Like, what are you going to do?
Yes, I agree. I agree. On Friday, we'll...
Oh, it's so fucking obnoxious.
So obnoxious. We'll see what happens on Friday. Just to tee people up as a teaser. We don't ever do this, but we'll do a teaser. Mandy Bell... We'll get into the whole Rocky Colavito discussion about the curse and Bob Costas on The Athletic. For people who haven't read it. We'll talk about the other things going on with the tribe, and then the Class A trade. We'll save that all for Friday. Mandy Bell, be there. NBA. So the NBA is meeting on Thursday. That's going to be June 4th. The big thing that's going to come out of this, it sounds like everything's now pushing this momentum. Everybody plays in Orlando, Florida. Everything's going to be starting back up. The big change for us as Cleveland fans, which I want to get into the discussion of, is they are only going to bring 22 teams back, which means the Cavs aren't going to be playing. All right, I'm going to go first, as I talked about this with a journalist last night. I think this is a big deal for the Cavs not playing, and I don't think it's good. The Cavs need to start playing games. For this team, who is this young, to not play games for almost a full year. By the way, the Cavs don't play. For people who don't think it's a big deal, that is no games until December. No games. Not one game for the Cavs until December. That's a long fucking time.
You can't even guarantee games in
December. I'm just warning. I think this is very bad for the Cavs. I don't think this is good because they could be easily forgotten. And how much we love the Cavs and how much we love cheering for them when they're doing whatever. If they don't play a game for a full year, I think Jared could get lost in the weeds in life. That's a long time between tipping off the ball. A long time. The Cavs need to play games.
Well, you've said it all.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
I just don't think
you're right.
It's like
No, because they're not a team that can afford. They're not a team that can afford to not be playing.
I am really worried about the Cavs. They don't play any games until December. I'm telling you, it's not good. And when people go like, why is attendance down in 2022? I'll be like, when you don't play a game it's one thing if you don't play during the pandemic, because no one plays during the pandemic. But if you have 22 teams who are playing during the pandemic and you're one of those 8 that are not, you know what the Cavs fans, Jared, myself, everyone who's Cavs fans like us are going to be doing? Talking about the fucking NBA lottery for 8 months. That's all we got.
Hey, SpaceX about to take off in 3 minutes, Andy.
Woof.
You want to wrap this up?
Let's ramp it up, right? The one thing I do want to comment on the Cavs, I just think it's depressing. Larry Nance and Sexton have publicly said they want to play. So there are players on the Cavs who want to play. Tristan Thompson, I think, we can all make sense of that. I don't know how much he would want to play. And actually, I would defend Tristan because he is a free agent. He's not coming back. So, I get that stuff. But I'm telling you again, sometimes in life, people make way too much like, oh, the Cavs aren't good, so who cares if they don't play or play? That is the wrong attitude. Playing games matter. They build things. Don't build a culture if we don't give a fuck. Because guess what? No one will give a fuck. Don't do that. That's why I go crazy about tanking. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. That's the same worry I have. That's why I don't even. Eventually you get to the point where you're like, you don't even. They could completely swap out everyone on that entire team, and no one will notice.
We will do this once this becomes official. That will be the Hayden Grove show in the Cavs because we need to do a big recap on what's going forward. All right, to wrap up, on Friday, May 29th, the NCAA released a long and detailed plan to help schools to bring athletes back to campus. A pandemic, the resocialization. Boy, that's not even a word, but they just thought of what
the resocialization of collegiate sports.
Boy.
Action plan considerations.
Boy, is this?
This sounds like something the military came up with.
Seriously.
The way that's written.
Resocialization, by the way, is not a word. But anyways, okay. So anyways, here's the big
interoperability.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Anyway, maybe it is a word, but I don't think it's a word. But
yeah, I gotcha.
Here's the big thing: is I've been working with schools lately. Football's coming back. College football's coming back, and colleges are opening up, and a lot of that has to do because of economics. And because people feel like that they want to go back to school or whatever else. And people, that we could do a whole conversation about that too. But I just want to say, and Jared and I have been talking about this off air, schools are ramping up. The Buckeyes have come out with plans. The Irish are coming out with plans. College football is happening. And I will admit, even though the safeties are there and the health is number one, I get excited about college football coming back. I have to admit, Jared. I get very, very excited about it.
So do I. I'm just concerned about the entire situation.
Yes, I do.
That's really all it is for me. I just want everyone to be safe. I don't want people to get sick. I don't want kids to go home and get their parents sick. I don't want any of that stuff.
Yes.
If they can make that happen, great.
Yeah.
Then do it.
I will say, and I think in the coming weeks we'll get confirmations from everything I'm hearing, Jared, from everything I'm reading. There is no slowing down college football. It's happening. There's going to be games played, and the only thing that will slow down is fans in the stands.
Slowing down something that creates that much revenue is very difficult.
Very, very difficult. And by the way, that's not in pockets for just people in these departments or the football team. It's in the faculty, the board. Big time dollars. That'll be for different podcasts too.
Hey, I am watching right now what that launch right now. As we record here, it's Saturday, 3/24, on time.
Yes.
The launch. So it's the first time since the Obama administration that we are sending folks to space. And this is pretty nuts. So cool. Sorry. I just had to bring that up, Andy, because I can't help but stare at it as we sit here and get the show wrapped up.
I'm actually going to save I have a big Purdue basketball thing. There's 2 kids that transferred out of Purdue. I'll save it for a different day because of time. But I really do want to talk about Matt Painter and Purdue in the next podcast. We have a big announcement that's going to be coming out here in a couple weeks.
Yes.
We are going to need some help. We've put out posts and stuff. If you are an intern or someone who wants to help us out, we are going to need it because we're doing a big venture here coming up. We're very excited about it. We'll talk about it here once it happens.
Yeah, if you're a college kid and you're working on a marketing degree, public relations, or even journalism, any of those communication type majors, hit us up, Andy and Jared at gmail.com. We're looking for an intern. Of course, we'll pay you when we get paid. And that's something that I figure I got to throw in there. But shoot us a message if you want to be a part of this, if you love Cleveland sports, if you're looking to earn credits for college. We'd love to have somebody jump on board with us and help us out.
I'm excited about Mayfield. I think Mayfield's gone off to the right attitude. Joe Woods fits the theme. Jarvis Landry, I would really listen to Jarvis Landry's. That interview got buried in the it happened back like on May 20th, I want to say, Jared. Listen to the interview. It's on clevelandbrowns.com. I thought Jarvis Landry's, it wasn't like he said something wowing. I just thought his tone needs to be reminded how much he's the lifeblood of this team at times. And, my other big comment is, and I hate to sound negative to end it, but it's true. What a huge 48, 72, 96 hours for baseball.
I know.
And we will hear and we will recap with Mandy on Friday. Please join us. It'll be a much longer podcast. We will go through the details of the Indians. And, boy, what a big moment for the sport.
Hey, let's also mention this. Major cities around the world dealing with a lot of strife and outward pouring of emotions and protest and, unfortunately, rioting and burning down of things. And this is going on in cities in Ohio as well, Akron, Columbus, Cleveland. For the most part, it seems in Ohio that a lot of this has been not as bad as we have seen in Minneapolis and St. Paul regions. But at the same time, it's tough everywhere. And we can understand where a lot of the anger comes from. And I know as a middle-aged white man, I am listening. I know Andy is the same way. But I will also say this, that I just want everyone to stay safe and take care of each other and help each other clean up and help rebuild these communities when that time has come. And try not to disrupt the activities of first responders who are making an attempt to take care of people and help people, save their businesses and their livelihoods that are being torn down, burned down, destroyed, and call out those who are infiltrating these groups of peaceful protesters and creating strife, because that is something that has been seen in a lot of these protests. And I hope that we can get it all under control. We know how divided a lot of things are in this country right now. And it breaks my heart. It really does. After serving in the military for 12 years and traveling around the world and seeing the oppression of people that most of us would never meet or never even think about in parts of this world. And to see these things going on here in the country that is supposed to be the greatest on earth, I just really hope that we can figure it out. And that's where I'll leave that for now. So
Andy and Jared and Cleveland Beyond giving everybody a big mental hug. I agree with you. Say right now, I'm teasing at the top of the show. It's been hard on all of us. It's been really, really hard. It has been. I know for me personally, I pride myself on usually trying to say even keel and everything else. And I'm not Superman by any means, but this has been a hard month. It's been a hard year. It's been a hard month.
Well, we've got to keep laughing and keep joking. That's a big part of it. It's how we help get through these things. Humor is a big part of my life. I like to laugh. I like to make jokes and, whatever. So definitely understand that. We'll get there. It's tough. A lot of people don't have jobs. A lot of people are figuring out how to put food on their table. A lot of people are worried about their loved ones and keeping them healthy. And some folks are just afraid that they can't go down the street without being targeted for the color of their skin. There's like spinning plates. There's millions of spinning plates out there. And everything Jared, you said did such a nice job. Well said. And the one thing I just want to echo, that is why it's not the lifeblood. It isn't necessary. Sports could just help a little mentally. And I have not missed. I love sports. I gotta admit, I'm missing sports a lot. I really, really, really am missing sports a lot. I'm missing all of it. Yeah. Well, I think that's another reason why I'm so glued to this space shuttle launch with NASA and SpaceX, because in the middle of everything that is going on, in the middle of all of the tragedies across this entire planet and this country, we just fucking sent a crazy ass rocket to space. And that stuff just inspires me and puts a smile on my face. So Hey, again, if you're looking for an internship, want to hang out with Andy and I, shoot us an email, andyandjared@gmail.com, andyandjared@gmail.com. Don't forget, follow us on Twitter at CLE and Beyond, at CLE and Beyond, on Facebook, facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond. And of course, we are brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. Andy, anything left?
Friday, Mandy Bell, be here with us. We will do an all-tribe show and probably a little bit of basketball and any Browns news.
He's Andy Billman. I'm Jared Watson. Andy and Jared, Cleveland and Beyond. Take care. Take care of one another. Be safe. Much love.